Alright, I'm going to show you how to make one of the parts for the heavy haul-in loader. We're going to be making the lift bar here. The lift bar, it goes with the bucket assembly, and it's the handle to use on the toy to raise and lower the bucket. Normally you just buy, if you're making this out of wood, you'd buy this at a hardware store. It's a U-bolt, but since we don't have a hardware store or an inventor, we're going to have to make our own. So the first thing we have to do is determine what size it is. It doesn't give all of the dimensions, but it gives dimensions that are important. If you notice here for the arms, there are 1/4-inch holes that the lift bar goes into. So that means the thickness of our lift bar has to be 1/4 inch. And then the distance between the holes, it's 1 1/8 between the two supports. And then the supports are 1/2 inch thick, so that adds an extra 1/4 inch on either side, so that's going to be 1 5/8 between it. And if that's our reference, 1 5/8, we could say it's about 2 inches total in height. Now we're going to use that information to create a part here and use a new tool called the sweep tool. To start out with, we're going to make a new sketch on the on the XY plane here. And we're going to make a U, an upside down U, that's 1 5/8 inch between the legs with a 1/2 circle on the top. So I'm just going to draw a line here. I'm not going to specify a length to it yet. Then I'll draw a second line over here, unattached to the first one. And then I'm going to use an arc tool to connect those two together. And now I need to add a couple of constraints. I want this to be a smooth curve, so what I want is I want the arc to be tangent to the line. To do that, I'm going to use a constraint called the tangent constraint. That's right here. I grab the tangent constraint, then I just click on this one, this line and the arc, and it makes that a smooth curve, and then the same thing on this side. Now that's a nice smooth curve. The other thing that I want is I want to set the distance between those two at 1 5/8, so I'll use a dimension for that. Click on that line, click in the middle, I'll make it 1 5/8. Zoom out a little bit. And then I want to set the height of my total thing to be about 2 inches. I'll just set the height of this leg here because I can't get to the top of the circle easily. So if I set this at 1 1/2 inches, that's going to be pretty close to the size I want. There's still one dimension I need here, and I think it's right down here. If I click on this, it can adjust up and down. I want that to be starting in the same place as this one. So I'll use one final constraint. I'll use the horizontally aligned constraint, the horizontal constraint. And I'll just click on the very ends of those two lines, and that'll line them up. Now I have a fully constrained sketch. So now I have my U shape. I'm going to finish this sketch. But before I do anything with this, this is going to be the path that my line follows, that my shape follows, that I'm going to make. I need to make a profile for what that shape is going to be. So I'm going to make a new sketch. This time I'm going to put it on the XZ plane, the plane that was flat on the part. And I want to put a small circle right in the center that's going to be the cross section of the lift bar. And since the hole that I need is 1/4 inch, that means the lift bar should be 1/4 inch or 0.25 inches. Finish that. Now I have two sketches, my U shape and my circle. And now I can go to the loft tool, which is up here on the toolbar, or excuse me, the sweep tool, which is up in the create bar. I click on sweep. I have to select the path that I want it to follow. That's this one. And then it selected the only profile that I had that was a complete loop. And then it creates this sweep that goes around and makes a U shape. So I can press OK. And that is the end of my lift bar.